Good morning, class. So today, alam niyo naman, maulan and it's been a while na hindi pa tayo nakakapag-meet. Palagi na lang class suspension because of the bad weather. So I prepared a video for our second chapter, okay, lesson 2, which discusses all about cost and cost behavior. So here in this particular lesson, guys, we will try to understand how costs are being defined, classified, and predicted to support sound business decisions. Right? Una, let's define what cost means. Okay, so if you've ever heard previously, di ba, kapag meron tayong nadidinig ng mga nag-uusap, tinatanong how much is the cost, okay, of let's say for instance, yung binili mong bag. Okay, so usually it refers to the selling price, di ba? If you are actually uh, gonna respond, okay, kung magkano mo siya nabili. Okay, and also, kapag tinanong ka how much ang nagastos mo, di ba? Sa pagpapa-repair, di ba? Nung nasira mong, let's say, cellphone. Okay, cellphone repair. So, it's referring naman dun sa expenses, okay, na ginastos mo, okay, for the repair, okay, and maintenance, let's say, ng cellphone, okay, ng cellular phone. So, usually, karamihan na associate natin ito sa selling price or even dun sa expenses, okay, na mai-incur natin. But cost is being defined in a much broader sense, okay. Let's try to define it here. Okay, as you can see on the screen, guys, it says there that cost is actually the monetary value of resources being sacrificed or forgone to attain a specific objective, such as producing a good or rendering a service. Okay, so ilan lang yan sa mga examples ng mga objective, okay, based sa definition of cost. So, may three elements, di ba, yung definition natin. So, una, it's being measured in terms of monetary value. So, it's money. Okay, so in accounting parlance, guys, so it is expressed as well in financial, di ba? Financial pa rin yung pinag-uusapan natin. Okay, something that can be measured monetarily. Alright, so different resources can be compared and added together. Now, also, resources are being given up. So you are actually sacrificing something, okay, or you're letting go, or it's something that you forgone, okay, or forgo, di ba? And let's say, sabi dyan, it represents materials, okay, in the aspect of accounting rin, di ba? It represents materials, labor, time, or services consumed to accomplish something. And last element is, it is actually tied to an objective. So, ano nga ba yung objective? Di ba? So, it's always incurred in relation to a specific cost object. Okay? A product, service, project, or department. Okay? In relation to our topic, okay? Which is accounting. Di ba? So, dun sa binigay nating examples kanina, let's say, bumili ka ng bag. Okay, so usually it is the cost that's being asked, okay, related to the selling price. Okay, kasi, di ba meron din naman siyang monetary value involved, okay, kung magkano mo siya nabili. And then, yung amount din na yon yung willing kang i-sacrifice, okay? And ang objective mo is to obtain a new bag, okay? For whatever purpose it may serve. So, something like that, okay? So, that's the reason why sometimes karamihan ina-associate natin siya sa selling price, di ba? Or even sa cost, di ba? Kasi kapag gumastos tayo sa expense, you're actually forgoing, or di ba? You're letting go of something. Okay, you're willing to sacrifice something of value, okay, in exchange for an objective. Okay, so in our example, repair ng cellphone, di ba? So that's actually what the main objective. Okay, but of course, in accounting, guys, iba yung objective natin. And syempre, this is to produce usually a product. Okay, so that's how you define cost. Now, there are terms na dapat nyo maintindihan, guys, okay, in relation to this topic, okay? So, isa-isahin natin kung ano itong mga terms na dapat nyo maintindihan. Okay, so una is the cost object. So it refers guys to let's say a product, a service, a project or department. And ang main purpose is to accumulate cost. Okay? So it can be, let's say for instance, yung object, let's say nagma-manufacture tayo ng Coca-Cola, di ba? So definitely ang cost object natin dyan is the product itself. Coke in bottle, Coke in can, di ba? Or any other brands, okay, related to Coca-Cola. So yun yung magiging cost object natin. Alright, if you're actually a manufacturer of shoes, di ba? Leather shoes, definitely ang magiging cost object mo dyan yung produkto mismo, di ba? Yung, let's say, leather shoes mismo. If you're rendering a service naman, let's say, haircut. Okay, so anong type ba ng haircut niyan? Di ba? Buzz cut, faded, di ba? Ano pa yung mga type ng gupit. So, it can be a cost object, okay? And that's one way for us to accumulate cost. Alright, now, cost driver naman, ito naman yung factor, okay, that drives cost accumulation. Okay, so this also refers guys dun sa activity level meron tayo. Okay, in order to accumulate cost for the cost object. So example natin dito is the machine hours, units produced, or if it's a labor driven guys sa mga factory workers, it can be in terms of labor hours, diba? And other activities meron ng isang company, okay, that can drive and accumulate costs for the cost object. Now another term guys that you need to understand is yung cost pool na tinatawag. So i halintulad na lang natin siya guys. If you have heard yung tinatawag nating carpooling, di ba? Carpool, we're in let's say for instance a Grab, diba? If you have a Grab, meron silang service na nagka-carpool sila, okay? Let's say one destination lang, and then yung Grab driver can pick up several passengers, diba? From different locations. And ang goal is ihatid lahat ng passengers na yon sa iisang destination lang. Let's say for instance, um, going to Makati, di ba? Yung destination nila, Ayala in Makati. So, they can actually pick up passengers, let's say in Cubao, and another passenger, let's say in San Juan, in Mandaluyong, in Ortigas, so ganon. And then, ang goal nung lahat ng passengers na yun, even though they're located different areas, is to go to one destination. So, parang kina-carpool sila, okay? Let's say that's one of the service, okay, being offered by Grab. Now, sa cost pool, ganun din guys. Cost pooling is like, there is actually, let's say for instance, a department or activity that accumulate guys, entirely group of different costs. Okay? And later on, itong mga costs na to, magkakaibang costs yan yung mga i-distribute or i-allocate natin, okay? In a particular, let's say, cost object, for us to determine yung tinatawag natin na cost unit or yung unit yung cost per unit. Yan yung tinatawag. Okay? So again, cost pool guys, this is a group of usually mga related costs. Okay? Na pinagsama-sama. And then later on, i-allocate siya guys. Okay? Or i-distribute siya dun sa cost object. Okay? Kung paano siya i-distribute, it can be in a means of kung ano yung activity ang ginamit natin. Okay? So let's say for instance, we have like a machinery pool, di ba? In a factory. So sa machinery pool na yan, ano-ano nga ba yung mga expense or costs na related, di ba? So we have one is yung depreciation ng mga machinery, di ba? Another cost will be yung repairs and maintenance. Another cost is, let's say for instance, yung mga pasahod, 'di ba? Salary or wages ng mga machine operators. So, all of those types of costs, magkaka-relate sila. So, it's being accumulated in one group in the machinery pool. And then later on, lahat ng expenses na yun, i-divide. Okay? Para ma-determine mo yung cost per unit doon sa cost object. I hope I made that clear. Okay? So, once na na-divide na to guys, of course, yung kalalabasan yan is yung unit cost, di ba? Cost per unit ng particular let's say product, di ba? Kung magkano yung cost na na-allocate per given unit. So, ganun siya. So, we'll try to have an example later on sa exercises, okay? Now, next natin, after cost unit is yung cost center naman na tinatawag. So, ito naman guys, medyo parang similar siya sa cost object. Kasi it can be a location, a function, an item then or product of equipment, or yeah, a department. So, yun. And the main purpose of assigning a cost center guys is to still accumulate costs just like a cost object. However, this is actually having a purpose of controlling those costs. Alright, so that's why it's being referred to a cost center. And usually guys, this is another subtopic guys in management accounting. Okay, we will discuss more about cost centers when we talk about responsibility accounting. Okay, but for now, usually this topic, focus lang tayo dun sa cost object, driver pool, and unit. Okay? And of course, cost center, pahapyaw pa lang natin siya i-discuss today. And lastly, guys, is the allocation of cost. So, just like what I've said kanina, di ba? Once you have already aggregate all different costs na magkakarelate related to one another, let's say sa machinery pool, then of course, yan, i-allocate natin yan, okay? It can be allocated based on the activity level, okay? Para dun sa cost object, para makuha natin yung unit cost, okay? Na na-allocate per cost object. Alright, so let's try to have an example later, okay, or exercise. But for now, let's continue. Now, costs are actually being classified, guys, okay, in different ways. So, we have that by nature or element. Okay, so ano ba yung cost na yan? Is it material ba? Direct materials? Direct labor? Or expenses ba siya? Overhead? Ba? So, that's actually one way of classifying costs, okay? And I think we can discuss further about this when we talk about the cost accounting cycle, okay, on chapter 3, okay, or lesson. Now, by function naman, it can be cost related sa production, di ba? Or sa administrative cost, selling costs, or distribution cost. Let's say for instance, salary ng mga office workers or ng, let's say, ng mga staff, let's say ng human resource manager, di ba? And usually they're not engaged directly in operations, so we can relate that type of cost sa administrative cost, okay? Now, what about salary guys ng mga sales agent natin, okay? The one in charge in marketing, okay? Marketing our product, okay? Hanap tayo ng customers, di ba? So, we can actually relate that sa selling cost, okay? Sa sales function. And distribution naman guys, yung let's say for instance, delivery charges, di ba? Delivery costs para ma-distribute yung mga product natin, okay? From the warehouse to the wholesaler, to the retailer, or directly to the consumer, okay? Or buyer. So, ganun siya guys. Ganun siya kinaklasify. Depende sa purpose or function ng cost. Now, chapter 2 is all about cost classification by behavior. And this is actually what we're going to discuss further. Okay? But skip muna natin to. Let's discuss it later. Okay? So, we have that three categories: fixed, variable, and semi-variable. Alright? Now, in terms of traceability naman, I think this is also part ng chapter 3. Okay? So, we have yung direct costs, something that can be traced directly to the product or the cost object, versus yung indirect costs, which cannot be easily traced, okay, doon sa particular product. Example natin dito, let's say for instance, sa leather shoes, okay, in leather shoes manufacturing. So, ang pinaka-obvious dyan guys na matitrace mo na direct cost is yung leather na ginamit, di ba? Sa pag-produce ng sapatos. What is the best example naman ng indirect costs? Yung mga maliliit na hindi natin visibly makikita, okay, dun sa product. Let's say for instance, yung glue na ginamit, di ba? May cost involved yan sa production. Yung pako, di ba? Or yung mga sinusinulid na medyo maliliit, very tiny details, hindi natin obviously yan makikita. Guys. Okay, doon sa product. Okay? Especially kapag yung tahe napakaganda at nakatago siya, di ba? So, it's very um, minimal, di ba? Very not visible, okay? Dun sa particular product. And that's actually one examples, okay? Or some of the examples ng indirect costs. Now, another example ng indirect costs then medyo yung sahod, di ba? Sahod nung, let's say, for instance, nung supervisor, okay? Nung mga factory workers na gumagawa ng sapatos. Okay? Indirect yan kasi hindi naman sila yung diretsyong uh, gumagawa, di ba? Yung sahod ng factory workers, yung talagang gumagawa ng mga sapatos, di ba? uh, we can consider that as well as a direct cost. Okay, pero yung supervisor, mga supervisory role, although nasa operations pa rin sila, pero hindi sila yung directly na humahawak or gumagawa ng product, we can consider that as indirect costs. Next naman is about controllability. Controllable costs, it's something that a manager can influence, okay? Versus uncontrollable na walang control si manager. Okay? Example natin guys dito, something na makokontrol ni manager, for instance, is yung electricity cost, di ba? Ng isang business. Of course, kung masyado yan mataas, manager can actually make a policy, di ba? Para makontrol yung mataas na electricity. Another way or another policy or probably one policy na pwedeng i-implement ng manager is, let's say, during business hours from 12 p.m. to 1, since lunchtime naman siya, so pwede nating patayin lahat ng ilaw, di ba? Since we are not accepting uh, customers, okay, during that time kasi lunchtime naman, para at least makamenos tayo sa kuryente. So by implementing a particular policy, a manager can do something, okay, to somehow control the cost. So ganun siya guys pag sinabi natin controllable. Now, example naman, best example ko ng uncontrollable guys is let's say yung cost ng insurance, di ba? Let's say for instance, warehouse insurance. Of course, hindi natin makokontrol yan, di ba, ng manager. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na um, for this month, stop na lang natin siyang bayaran, di ba? So, what if something bad happened? Let's say, nagkaroon ng sunog, di ba? Ang warehouse. Or nagkaroon ng, let's say, earthquake ba, and na-damage yung mga products natin. And kapag nag-fail tayo sa pagbabayad ng insurance, you know what's gonna happen guys, di ba? Possible na hindi tayo makapag-claim ng insurance claims, okay? For those particular product, di ba? Yung insurance coverage natin, possible na ma-forfeit because hindi tayo update sa pagbabayad. So, it's actually something na walang control si manager, okay? Whether you like it or not, kailangan mo siyang bayaran na cost, okay? Otherwise, the business will suffer, okay? Kapag in case na something bad happen, okay? And hindi updated ng payment ng insurance. Alright, so something like that. That's gonna be one of the examples, guys, okay, ng mga uncontrollable costs. Last naman guys is by relevance. Although this is actually gonna be a separate topic in management accounting, but usually this is being discussed na lang mga accountancy major. Okay? Medyo masalimuot siya and medyo komplikado yung topic ng relevant costing. Okay? Or by relevance. So, pero isa-isahin lang natin, i-define lang natin tong mga costs na na-mention dito. Okay? Para at least magkaroon kayo ng idea. So, pag sinabi nating relevant cost, guys, and differential cost, iisa lang yan, ha? Relevant and differential cost. So, it's like cost, guys, na hindi mo pa talaga na-i-incur. It's like an imaginary costs. Okay? Futuristic cost na ina-assume mo pa lang na magiging possible cost ng business, di ba? Magiging expense ng business depende sa alternative action na pipiliin mo. Alright? Ang best example nito guys, let's say for instance, meron tayong two alternatives. Either mag-loan tayo kay Bank A or mag-loan tayo kay Bank B, di ba? So, yan yung example natin. And of course, when actually deciding which loan ang i-avail natin, syempre, i-consider natin dyan kung sino yung mas pinakamababang interest, di ba? Yung interest na babayaran natin sa loan A, kay Bank A, and yung interest na babayaran natin um, kay Bank B, di ba? So, i-compare natin yan, guys. And kung sino yung mas mababa, yun yung pipiliin natin decision. So, ang sinasabi natin na relevant costs, guys, or differential cost, is yung interest expenses nung dalawa. So, although hindi pa natin siya na-i-incur, kino-consider pa lang natin siya. It's a future costs na possible nating ma-incur. Depende kung sino yung pipiliin nating alternative. Kung maglo-loan ba tayo kay Bank A o kay Bank B. So, ganun siya, guys. So, that's actually what relevant cost is about. Okay? So, hindi mo pa siya na-i-incur na cost, pero you are considering it in the decision-making process. Okay? In choosing the best alternative. Okay? The best decision that you can come up with. So, ganun siya, guys. Ano naman yung sunk cost? So, kung yung relevant cost and differential cost is actually futuristic cost, sunk cost naman, guys, is known as a past cost. Okay? Natapos na, nangyari na, na-incur na natin siya, expense na, nabayaran na, nagastos na. So, ganun siya. Yan yung sunk cost. And usually, ang sunk cost, guys, is no longer relevant, di ba? In our decision-making process. Okay? Kasi, nagastos mo na siya eh. So, wala na siyang effect. Kahit na anong course ng action ang gawin mo, hindi na siya relevant. Okay? Wala na siyang silbi. Kasi, nagastos mo na. Okay? Hindi na maapektuhan yung decision mo in the future kasi gastos na. So, ganun yung sunk cost. And usually, sunk cost, guys, is also known as irrelevant cost. Okay? So, it's the opposite of relevant. Kasi wala na siyang silbi eh. Nangyari na. Tapos na. So, that's in accounting, guys. Okay? In management accounting, that's the type of cost. Now, opportunity cost naman, guys, ito naman yung medyo similar siya sa relevant cost kasi it's more on futuristic cost. Okay, hindi pa natin siya nai-incur. However, guys, it is actually the cost, okay, of the alternative na hindi natin pinili. Okay, so ganun siya. So let's say going back dun sa example natin kanina, guys, okay, which is loan A and loan B, di ba? Kay Bank A and Bank B. Now, let's say for instance, nag-decide tayo na mas mababa yung interest na babayaran natin pag in-avail natin si Bank A. Di ba? So, kay Bank A tayo, mas maliit yung interest na babayaran natin dito sa loan na to. So, ang pinaka-opportunity cost mo, guys, is yung kabila, di ba? Si Bank B, yung interest na dapat sana ibabayaran mo. Okay? Kasi, iba yung pinili mo. So, ganun siya, guys. Alright? Kapag let's say, in alternative course of action, may pinili ka dahil ito yung the best decisions that you can select, okay, among alternatives, ang pinaka-opportunity cost mo is yung cost na dapat sana'y mai-incur mo kung yung kabila yung pinili. Pero since hindi mo siya pinili, so nagiging opportunity cost mo siya. Now, let's say for instance naman si B yung pinili mo, di ba? Dun sa example natin, yung cost na interest ni B ang pinili mo, ang magiging opportunity cost mo naman is yung kabaliktaran, okay? Yung cost na dapat sana'y mai-incur mo kay Bank A kung sakasakaling si Bank A yung pinili mo. So, it's always the opposite, guys, okay? Yun yung tinatawag na opportunity cost. Alright, let's say pinili mo si A, ang magiging opportunity cost mo is yung cost na dapat sana ay mai-incur mo kung sakasakaling pinili mo yung kabila. Okay, yung kabilang alternative. So, that's how you differentiate, guys, this type of cost, okay, by decision methods. Now, classifications by nature and traceability, guys. This is also gonna be part ng cost accounting cycle, pero andyan na siya yung pinaka-example niyan, guys. Okay, we have yung direct costs, like yung direct material and direct labor, and any direct expenses, okay? Other costs incurred specifically for a job or product. Indirect costs naman, lahat ng mga overheads. We have yung indirect material, indirect labor, and other indirect expenses. Alright? So, we'll talk about more of this pag nasa cost accounting cycle na tayo ng chapter 3. And dito na tayo sa pinaka-topic natin, okay, ng chapter 2. It's all about classification of costs by behavior. So, meron tayong tatlong klase, guys. Okay? We have yung fixed cost from the name itself. So, hindi siya nagbabago in terms of total, guys. Okay? In terms of total. Uh, And then it's within a relevant range. Okay, kung ano nga ba yung relevant range na yan guys, discuss natin yan regardless of activity level. Okay? Now, pag variable cost naman ang sinabi natin, it changes in direct proportion to activity level. So, usually direct proportion siya. So, kapag ka nag-increase yung activity driver mo, let's say yung machine hours, labor hours, definitely mag increase din yung variable cost. And of course, semi-variable cost is a mixture, guys. Okay? Meron siyang halong fixed and variable cost. Now, for you to better appreciate, guys, let's have an exercise on this one. Okay, dito muna tayo, guys, sa first exercise natin, okay, to illustrate yung um, difference between fixed, variable, and mixed type of cost. Okay, yung according to behavior. So we have here an example illustration, guys, Pabebe Manufacturing Company, which has the following information available regarding costs at various levels of monthly production. Right? Although may sagot na siya guys, but let me explain na lang din, okay? Kung paano natin madi-differentiate or madi-distinguish yung one cost from another. Okay? So, we have here yung different types of cost na na-incur ni Pabebe. And we also have yung cost driver niya, okay? In this illustration guys, ang cost driver niya is in terms of units of production, okay? So we have 14,000 level 40,000 units of level of production and another 20,000, and these are the costs na na-incur nila, okay, in each level of activity. So, in identifying fixed cost, guys, ito yung pinakamadali kasi sabi natin kanina, di ba, in terms of total pesos. Okay, so hindi nagbabago yan, okay, regardless kung anong level of activity. Now, if you're going to observe or scrutinize these accounts, so ang mga fixed cost natin dyan, most likely ito, di ba? Kasi hindi siya nagbago in terms of total ha. And then ito, depreciation on plant assets. And ito pa, di ba? At saka ito, property taxes. Notice guys na kahit na tumaas yung level ng activity natin, these costs remain constant, okay, in terms of total. So that's one of the characteristic guys ng fixed cost, okay? Now, if we're going to divide naman itong cost na to, let's say for instance, si supervisor salaries, i-divide natin to sa level of activity, we can actually derive, guys, di ba, yung tinatawag natin na unit cost based dun sa sinabi natin kanina. Alright, so let's say this is the cost, i-allocate mo siya sa based sa level ng activity, units produced, so we can actually arrive at the cost per unit or the unit cost. Now, notice guys na even though constant yung fixed cost in terms of total, but if we divide this versus this, we can have a cost per unit of 0.86. Now, take note guys na the same supervisor salaries of 12,000, pag dinivide mo siya sa 20,000, which is a different level ng activity, the cost per unit changes. Okay? And this time guys, bumaba siya. So, aside from, ang magiging conclusion natin dito guys is even though si fixed cost does not change in terms of its total pesos, pero in terms of unit per cost or cost per unit na pagbabaliktad, the relation to the level of activity is inverse, okay, or kabaliktaran. Now, kapag ka nag increase yung activity level, si cost per unit ng fixed cost ay nagdi-decrease. So that's one characteristic guys, okay, ng fixed cost. Okay, andito siya guys. Constant siya per total, pero it has an inverse relationship sa activity level. Okay, tatandaan niyo yan. Alright? Now, note as well here, example pa natin. Or actually, this one is not an example na. Iba na to guys. Okay? Let's try yung depreciation naman. Okay? Depreciation, 10,000. That's gonna be 10,000, diba? Divide mo siya sa 14,000. That's like 0.71. Actually, meron na pala. Sulat. 0.71. Ayan. Pero, same fixed cost guys, 10,000 kapag dinivide mo siya sa 20,000 na level activity, so nag-increase yung level ng activity, yung 0.71 mo at 14,000 level, naging 0.50 na lang sa 20,000. So, this is also the characteristic guys ng fixed cost. Bumababa siya. Inverse relation siya sa activity level. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now, punta naman tayo guys dun sa variable cost. How do we determine guys ang variable cost? And how can we distinguish that from mixed cost? Okay? So, notice guys, nasabi natin kapag ang variable cost in terms of total, nag-i-increase siya. So, direct proportion siya, okay, sa level ng activity. So, ibig sabihin, since kapag tumaas ang level ng activity natin, definitely tataas din yung variable cost. Okay? Just like this one. Okay, nakita nyo from 70,000 na at 14,000 level, nag-increase siya into 100,000 at 20,000 level. So, nag-i-increase siya. Now, that's in terms of total, guys. Okay, direct proportion. But, take a look, guys, yung cost per unit niya. Okay, 70,000 i-divide mo sa 14,000, so you'll have a cost per unit na 5 pesos. Now, here, 100,000 i-divide mo sa 20,000, ang cost per unit niya is 5 pesos rin. And what can we conclude? So even though si variable cost ay direct proportion sa activity level, but when we talk about cost per unit, it remains constant. Okay? Si variable cost is always constant. Okay? In terms of unit per cost. So andito siya guys. Okay? So that's actually the behavior ng variable costs. Variable cost, direct proportion siya sa activity level in terms of total. However, per unit cost, it remains constant. Okay? So, careful kayo guys. Hindi ibig sabihin na nag increase siya depende sa level of activity, variable cost na. So, you have to check kung constant ba si cost per unit. Kasi, we have also yung tinatawag natin na mixed cost. Okay? Tingnan natin guys. Okay? Notice guys that these types of costs, nag increase din naman siya, di ba? Depende sa level of activity. Ayan, no? Nag-increase siya. 15,000, naging 21,000 sa 20,000 level. However, if you're going to check guys, yung cost per unit niyan, divide mo to sa level of activity and yun ito sa level of activity, notice guys that the cost per unit changes. Diba? So, here is actually one characteristic guys ng mixed cost. Okay? So, hindi siya constant in terms of cost per unit. So, therefore, masasabi natin na itong costs na to guys, meron siyang element na fixed and meron siyang element na variable. Diba? Fixed and variable cost component. Kaya tinatawag natin siyang mixed or yung semi-variable costs. Okay? So, that's another term. Now, in accounting guys, hahayaan na lang ba natin na ganito siya? Definitely no guys. Okay, once na na-determine nyo guys na may mixed cost, ang role nyo is to determine how much ba yung fixed component and how much ba yung variable cost. Kasi again guys, at mixed, medyo mahihirapan tayong mag-come up with decision. Okay, so that's why we have to determine how much is the fixed cost and how much is the variable cost. And you will find out, marirelate nyo to kapag ka na-discuss na natin yung mga succeeding topics natin. Okay, but for now, focus muna tayo sa cost. Alright, thank you so much. Okay, let's balik muna tayo rito. Okay, later na tayo mag-proceed sa next exercise natin. Alright, now, moving on guys, let's discuss yung cost behavior patterns, okay, na mga types of cost na yon. So, we have here guys yung graph. If you can still recall guys yung inaral nyo sa mathematics in high school or even sa algebra, di ba? So, we have here guys yung x-axis and your y-axis, di ba? So, your x-axis guys, so this one is your activity level or cost driver. Right? While your y-axis naman or yung vertical line, this is for your total cost. Okay? And ang sabi natin, in terms of total cost, ang fixed cost guys is constant lang. So, kung titingnan nyo guys, ang fixed cost na yan, within relevant range siya, Yan. So, straight line lang siya, guys. Okay? So, ganyan siya ang behavior niya. Constant, hindi nagbabago. Now, when it comes naman sa variable cost, sabi natin direct proportion siya sa activity level. So, kapag ka nag increase yung activity level mo, nag increase din si variable cost, di ba? So, from 0 here, notice guys na nag increase siya, okay? At 20, activity level, ito na siya. And then at 40, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, pag ganun yung line niya. Now, what about a semi-variable or yung mixed cost? So, if notice na hindi siya nag-start sa 0, okay? Dito siya, banda, somewhere here, di ba? And nag increase pa rin naman siya. Ganyan yung line niya. It's just that hindi siya nag-connect sa 0 mismo. Why? Because, ito guys, itong component na to, from this point, and then going here, di ba? Kapag nag-draw ka ng straight line, this area is actually your fixed cost. Okay? Kasi mix nga siya, di ba? While this area naman, from the line that you draw here, the straight line, itong area na to, this will serve as your variable cost. Kaya tinatawag natin siya na mix. Kasi may fixed cost siya na component and may variable cost. And that's why ganyan yung graph niya. Okay? Hindi siya nag-initiate sa zero. Right? I hope that's clear, guys. Now, kapag sinabi nating relevant range, guys, kanina pa natin binabanggit yan. Ito yung uh, range, guys, ng activity kung saan masasabi natin na yung cost behavior na inaaral natin ito true, 'di ba? Na si fixed cost straight line lang siya, 'di ba? In terms of total. Ganyan, si variable cost increasing yan, right? And si semi-variable, ganyan siya. Ganyan yung pattern niya. Okay, yung behavior pattern niya. So, within the relevant range, guys, of activity, we can say na yung hypothesis natin or yung inaaral natin cost behavior is considered true. Okay, why? Because outside the level ng outside the relevant range, guys, yung irrelevant range of activity, ang tendency kasi guys ng costs is mag-fluctuate, okay? So, maaaring hindi na maging accurate guys yung predictions natin in terms of its behavior outside sa relevant range, okay? Usually, it's possible na mag-fluctuate siya sa pataas or mag-fluctuate siya pababa. So, hindi na siya nagiging straight line, kumbaga. Right? So that's outside. Kaya it's important guys na dapat within relevant range lang tayo. Kasi doon lang natin ma-determine na itong mga inaaral natin is true. Okay? When it comes to the cost behavior patterns of each type of cost. I hope that's clear guys. Okay? Yung tinatawag nating relevant range. We'll try to explain later, okay? Sa exercise. Now, we also have this y function, yung cost function, di ba? Y is equals to a plus bx. Now, sabi natin guys, kapag meron tayong mixed cost, ang goal natin guys is to determine ano ba yung component na fixed and ano ba yung component na variable, di ba? And therefore, gagamitan natin siya ng equation. So, this is also like an algebra expression guys, algebraic expression, okay? Y is equals to a plus bx. So here guys, let's determine kung ano nga ba yung value nitong mga variables nito. Okay, so yung y natin guys, sabi natin 'di ba kanina, yan yung vertical line sa graph natin. So that serves as your total cost, okay? Yung a naman guys, this is known as your total fixed cost, okay? And b is actually your variable cost per unit. Take note that it's per unit guys, hindi siya in pesos. Okay, and yung x mo is your activity line. Okay, yan. So, let's try to have another exercise guys, okay? Para at least ma-determine mo kung paano natin ma-apply itong cost function. Alright, so let's have this second exercise guys, okay? It's all about the cost function y is equals a plus bx. So meron na rin yan sagot pero explain ko na lang din, okay? Paano siya na-compute. So here's our problem guys, okay? So si Meg Company has developed a regression equation to analyze the behavior of its maintenance costs as a function of machine hours. The following equation was developed by using 30 monthly observations with a related coefficient of determination of 0.90. Alright, so ang pinaka-importante lang natatandaan nyo dyan guys is yung variable. So, take a look at this equation guys. So, medyo similar lang din siya dun sa inaral natin na y is equals a plus bx. It's just that na-replace lang yung letter, okay? Yung variable letter. So, si y natin, siya na yung magiging q. So, that's actually your total cost. 6,000 na to, this is your a kanina, di ba? May value na. So, that's your fixed cost. Si 5.25, ito si B natin, di ba? Si B, which is your variable cost per unit. And ZZ, this is gonna be your X dun sa equation natin kanina. And that's gonna be your activity level. Alright? Now, paano natin siya i-apply? So, supposedly, ang requirement natin, if there is actually 1,000 machine hours na nagamit natin, okay, or na-work natin in 1 month, what is the total maintenance costs? So, ang hinahanap natin is the total cost, so which is your Y, okay? Or here in this equation, that's the letter Q. Using the cost function above, okay? Ito yun, cost function. Well, ito yung machine hours is your activity driver, di ba? Or cost driver. So, isa-substitute lang natin siya sa equation para ma-compute natin kung magkano yung total cost. So, given the equation, guys, we have 6,000 as your fixed cost plus yung 5.25 na variable cost per unit, multiply mo sa level ng activity, which is 1,000. Okay, and from there, you will get yung value ng Q or ng Y. That's gonna be 11,250. Okay, try it using your calculator, guys. Okay, para ma-check niyo. Okay, kung tama. Now, second question, guys, is 3,000. Magkano naman daw ang total costs? Still, ang hinahanap natin is letter Q o si letter Y. Okay, which is the total cost. Okay, substitute mo lang din kasi 3,000 is the level of activity. So, yan yung pinaka-Z mo or yung X. And you will get 21,750. And same goes for 5,000 machine hours. Substitute mo lang yan sa equation, guys, in order to get yung total cost, which is 32,250. Right? So, once you have this information, madali lang naman ang pag-compute ng Y, okay? Pero, always remember, guys, na in mathematics, hindi lang naman Y ang hinahanap natin, di ba? Some problems, guys, given si Y, pero ang hinahanap natin is si X or si B or si A, di ba? And from there, dapat marunong kayong uh, extrapolate ang tawag doon. Basta extract, okay? Nung equation, okay? Para makuha yung missing variable. Right? And that's all about algebra. Hindi ko na siya masyadong i-discuss, pero I think we can have another example later on. Okay? So, let's continue, guys, dun sa PowerPoint, and then later on, we'll go back here for the other exercises. Thank you. Okay, and we're back sa slide, guys. So, let's continue. Now that nalaman na natin, guys, yung different types of cost, okay, when it comes to behavior, and sabi natin kanina, pagka mixed variable ang pinag-uusapan, kailangan natin siyang i-separate, di ba? So, meron tayong mga methods or cost segregation techniques na aaralin para at least ma-separate natin si fixed cost from the variable cost. Now, actually, guys, in reality, meron yung five techniques. Hindi lang sinama rito yung pang-isa, guys, because that's highly technical. Yung tinatawag yun na industrial engineer method. So, it requires yung expertise, guys, okay, ng mga engineers natin or industrial engineers when it comes sa cost estimation. So, may mga uh, method sila, mathematical techniques na inaral in engineering. They're the only one, okay, who can perform yung method na yon. Okay, but at least you have an idea that may panglima, okay, yung industrial engineer method. Now, ito, yung method natin na aaralin is in the absence of an engineer, di ba? Let's say in the business, kung walang engineer na makakapag-estimate ng cost para sa atin, then we can do an alternatives, di ba? So, meron naman tayo yung account analysis. Ito naman, guys, nagre-rely sa expertise. nung may hawak ng mga accounts. Let's say for instance, si accountant who is already experienced in the company for 15 years, so most likely naman yung mga paulit-ulit na accounts na yan, kabisado na niya kung sino yung, kung ano dyan yung mga fixed, di ba? Kung ano yung variable. So usually magre-rely na lang tayo sa knowledge, okay? Sa pag-a-analyze ng accountant, okay? Dun sa mga accounts na yun or sa causes behavior, okay? So, yun yung account analysis. So, it relies on the expertise ng accountant. Now, meron din tayo yung scatter graph method, di ba? Ito usually nagawa nyo na to sa high school or sa algebra, yung bang magpo-point ka, di ba? You have yung x and y axis and you will just gonna plot yung mga dots, di ba? Doon sa graph. And then from the dots, magdodraw tayo ng straight line. And from there, madidetermine mo na guys kung aling portion doon yung fixed, aling portion doon yung variable, di ba? Depende yon sa straight line na madadraw mo, okay? Dun sa pagpa-plot mo ng points. So, medyo subjective guys itong scatter graph kasi it depends guys dun sa gumagawa, di ba? Kung paano siya magguhit ng straight line, malamang baka tumapat siya kung paano siya nagpa-plot. Most likely magkakaiba yung magiging output or outcome, di ba? Depende dun sa results, okay? Ng pagpa-plot na ginagawa nung gumagawa. Alright? Now, ang aaralin natin talaga guys is itong dalawa, yung high-low method and yung least squares method kasi meron tong mga computations involved. Right? So sa high-low method guys, we're only using 2 points, yung highest activity and yung lowest activity, and from there, we can compute guys yung variable versus the fixed components um, by a formula. Okay, meron tayong formula na ifa-follow. Sa least squares regression naman or least squares method, hindi lang yung highest and lowest point yung kinoconsider but all of the available data guys, okay, is being considered in the computations, okay, of the variable and fixed component using also a formula. So ito guys, bigyan natin to ng emphasis, okay, through an example. Okay, balik tayo dun sa Excel exercise natin. Okay, and we're back guys dito sa exercise natin. So, let's try to analyze guys this high and low method. Okay, so we have here guys a problem. Although, as you can see, meron na rin siyang sagot, pero explain ko na lang. Okay, so we have Jackson Incorporated is preparing a flexible budget for 2020 and requires a breakdown of the cost of steam used in its factory into the fixed and variable elements. Following data on the cost of steam used and direct labor hours worked are available for the last 6 months of 2019. Okay, notice guys that we have yung available data natin. And also notice na hindi siya pang buong taon, di ba? As you can say, di ba, dun sa inaral natin sa lesson 1, hindi natin kailangan guys ng full data in order to make decisions. In management accounting, kung ano lang yung data na available, segmented man yan, we can actually do some uh, computations, and from there we can actually make decisions, diba? So, analyze natin guys tong available data natin. Okay, kung itinan nyo, it's only good for 6 months. So, sa high and low method guys, sabi natin is we only have to determine or get yung highest and lowest activity level. Take note guys, activity level ang basis natin. Okay, hindi cost. So, kung titingnan natin tong given, alin dyan yung activity level natin. So, definitely ito guys, okay? Ito yung activity level natin or yung cost driver, okay? Direct labor hours. Don't look at the cost guys. This will be your y sa equation natin. While this one is your x, di ba? So, y is equals to a plus bx equation. So, ito ang titingnan nyo guys, okay? Always activity level ang tingin. Now, ang gagawin nyo na next is determine kung alin dyan yung pinaka-highest and yung pinaka-lowest. So, given sa examples na yan, guys, ang pinaka-highest natin is 3,650, okay? Or your month of October. While your lowest naman, guys, is 2,050, okay? For the month of August. Now, ang tanong, what if in your given data, nagtay yung lowest or yung nagtay yung highest? Diba? Let's say, for instance, dalawa si 2050. Alin dun sa dalawa pipiliin nyo, guys? Ang next na i-evaluate nyo is yung cost, guys. Okay? Kapag ang pinag-uusapan natin yung lowest, kumpara nyo yung dalawang cost. Kung alin yung mas mababa, yun yung pipiliin nyo. Okay? Let's say, for instance naman, nagtayo si highest, di ba? Let's say, dalawa yung 3650 mo na activity level. And then, after ma-evaluate mo na tayo sila, then, tingin ka naman sa cost. Kapag highest yung pinag-uusapan, ang pipiliin mo, guys, is yung highest amount. Okay? Kasi highest point tayo. Okay? Kung alin yung mas mataas na cost, okay? Dun sa dalawang options, yun ang pipiliin mo. So again, kapag ka lowest, nag-tie, yung pinaka-lowest cost. Okay? Kapag ka highest, nag-tie, yung pinaka-highest ang pipiliin. Right? Ganun siya. Now, after determining, guys, the highest and the lowest point ng activity level, of course, ito yung formula natin. So, highest cost minus highest, lowest cost, highest minus lowest cost, divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. So, ganun siya, guys. So, from here, so we have 19,800. Ito yun, highest cost. Minus natin si lowest cost ng August. And then, divide natin sa highest activity minus si lowest activity. Alright, and from there, we got this value, 64 divided by 16. So, we'll have 4 pesos per direct labor hours. Okay, and that will be our variable cost per unit or your letter B. So, that will be the answer natin for question number 1. So, dito yan. Okay? So, basahin nyo na lang yan, guys. So, andito naman na yung mga sagot. Alright? Next requirement natin is how much daw yung monthly fixed cost. Siyempre, meron ka ng variable cost. So, using yung equation natin, y is equals a plus bx, substitute mo na lang yung mga value. Okay? And since missing si a, so let's find a. So, ano na lang kayo dyan, algebra. Okay? Para ma-determine nyo si value ni letter A. Now, ang tanong, alin yung pipiliin mo dyan? Okay? Para i-supplement mo dun sa equation, pili ka lang kung si highest or si lowest. Kapag si highest, guys, let's say for instance si highest, di ba? Ito, si 19,800 equals A plus 4. This is your variable cost per unit. And then yung activity level ng highest is 3,650. Kapag si lowest naman yung pinili mo, so 13,400 cost is equals to A plus 4 less yung value ng activity level ni lowest. And from there, find A and pareho lang naman ang kakalabasan yan, guys. Okay, 5,200. Okay, whether you choose yung highest or lowest point sa pagdedetermine ng value ni A, it will still result the same. Okay? Now, after nyo makompute, guys, yung value ni A, ang tanong natin is monthly fixed cost. Kasi monthly yung data. So, di ba, 5,200 is referring dun sa monthly fixed cost. Pero ang hinahanap naman din is yung annual fixed cost. So, para makompute natin, kapag meron tayong monthly data, i-multiply lang natin yan sa 12 para makuha natin yung annual fixed cost. Okay? Or yung fixed cost for the entire year. Okay? For 1 year. So, that's a 62,400. Alright, and there you have it na yung value ni B and the A. So, ang next natin is what is the monthly cost function daw ni Jackson Inc. So, ang cost function na tinatawag dito, guys, hindi yung y is equals to a plus bx, di ba? Kasi alam na natin na yun yung cost function. However, since alam na natin yung value ni A at value ni B, para ma-determine natin yung cost function nitong company na to, substitute natin. Okay? Yung value ni A at ni B. So, instead of y is equals a plus bx, ang cost function na hinahanap natin is y is equals to 5,200, which is your fixed cost, plus 4, which is your variable cost, multiplied by x. Okay, so that's how you compute, guys, yung cost function. You have to substitute, guys, yung na-compute mong value, okay, to determine the cost function. Na meron pang fourth tanong, magkano daw yung annual cost function? Siyempre, kapag annual cost function ang hinahanap, di ang ilalagay mo sa fixed cost is yung annual cost, di ba? Annual, 62,400. And plus 4, kasi di ba sabi natin regardless kung anong activity level, that remains constant. So 4 pa rin namin yan. Okay, hindi magbabago yung variable cost per unit. And then multiply mo lang kung ilan yung activity level for the entire year para ma-determine mo yung total costs for the whole year. Okay, so ganun siya guys. And that's how you complete yung annual cost. Now, meron pa tayong isang example here guys ng high and low method. Pero this time guys, ang emphasis natin guys is ito. Let's say ito yung given data natin. Yung existence dito guys ng outlier or yung tinatawag natin na masyadong malayong data, okay, as compared dun sa other data. So kapag meron kayo na-encounter guys na ganito, masyado siyang malayo, so yan yung tinatawag natin na outlier or yung data outside yung tinatawag nating irrelevant range. And sabi nga natin kapag irrelevant range na yan, hindi natin yan i-consider sa computation. Kasi possible na hindi na true yung inaaral nating cost behaviors, okay, outside irrelevant range. So dun lang tayo sa relevant range. So kapag may outlier, hindi yan yung pipiliin mo na lowest. And instead, yung lowest value, okay, other than the outlier. All right, so given that example guys, so let's take a look. Highest natin in terms of level activity, which is kilogram of banana, that's 123,000. Right, and low, that's gonna be eto. Okay, so hindi natin ko-consider ito na 2,000 na low kasi outside na siya, masyado na siyang malayo dun sa mga data, sa other data na binigay. Okay, so kaya ang gagawin natin is ito, gagamitin natin is 63,000. And of course, kapag cost, yung cost, okay, energy costs, which is the Y, yan yung value natin. And substitute nyo lang yan guys dun sa formula natin, okay, para ma-determine si B. So change in cost divided by change in activity, and then you will have yung letter B, okay, or your variable cost per unit. And same din, okay, sa pag-compute guys ng other information. Okay, just go over with this example guys, okay, para maaral nyo. Now, last topic natin guys is about least squares method, di ba? Sabi natin guys, sa high and low method, we're only utilizing the highest and the lowest point. Pero here guys, sa least squares method, we are actually considering all the available data. And of course, we have yung formula. Although guys, naka-indicate dito sa example ko yung equations, pero disregard mo na lang yan guys, okay? Medyo highly mathematical na tong equation na to. Pero pinresent ko na lang in case na you'd like to learn. If you can still recall your algebra, so finding variables guys by substitution. So yan yung magiging results guys, okay, in finding the value of B and the value of A. Pero may nahanap akong formula here guys na magagamit nyo for variable cost. Ito na lang yung tatandaan nyo guys, okay, mas madali ito. And yung A formula andyan na rin naman, andito, i-discuss natin to, okay, kung paano siya i-compute using this formula. So, ang hahanapin nyo lang guys is yung value ni x, y, x squared, yung mga summation nila, at saka yung mean of x and mean of y, and the value of n. Alright, so given guys, as a data na to, we already have yung x, diba? Or your activity. That's gonna be the number of weddings. And then yung y, which is your total cost, okay? Now, ayan na yung X natin for each month and ito na yung lahat ng Y. Okay, given yan sa data guys. Now, ang next na gagawin nyo guys is to get yung XY value. So, XY, so multiply mo lang si X and si Y, you will get this amount. Okay? So, February, ito, multiply mo dito, you will get this amount. Okay? And then, so on, so forth. So, you'll have the value. Okay, by multiplying the value of X and Y. Alright, and si x squared naman, paano siya kinocompute guys? Syempre, si letter x, ito, multiply mo sa another amount, okay, equivalent to itself, diba? So, i-multiply mo lang x times x. So, 3 times 3, that's 9. 2 times 2, that's 4, and so on and so forth, guys, okay? Yan. Yan yung x squared value natin. Now, after mo ma-compute per month, of course, kailangan nating i-compute yung total, diba? Total ni y, and x squared. Okay, or your summation. Okay, yung letter E na nakikita nyo sa equation nito, that means summation. Okay, or yung total. So, total ni x, total ni y, total ni xy, and then total ni x squared. Okay, once na na-compute mo na yung total, ang haalamin naman natin is yung average nila, di ba? Determine natin yung mean of or yung mean of x or mean of y or yung average. So ito, i-divide natin sa number of observations. That will serve as your letter n, guys. Okay, in this example, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 observations. Okay, or 6 data available. So ang letter n natin is equivalent to number 6. So, itong total na to ni x, i-divide natin sa number of observations, which is 6. We will get yung mean of x. Okay, 8.67. And then ito, mean of y naman, i-divide natin itong total na to sa n or sa value ng n, which is 6. We will get 4,233. So, this is gonna be your average, guys. Okay? Now, I think once na alam natin yung mga value na to, and then i-substitute na lang natin. Okay, so how do we compute? B is equal summation daw of xy. Summation of xy, ito yun, diba? Summation of xy or the total of xy. 239,300 minus n daw, which is your number of observations, so 6. Mean of x, ito yon, mean of x guys, or the average. Okay, pagka may dash sa itaas, that means mean. Okay, yung average ng x, so that's 8.67. Okay, and then mean of y naman natin, ito yon, di ba, yung kinompute natin. So that's actually yung sa above natin ng division, di ba? Then you have yung slash for the division. Ito naman yung sa baba, guys. So summation of x squared daw ang next. Divide natin siya sa summation of x squared. Ito yon, di ba? 674 minus n ulit, di ba? Minus n, which is number 6. And then mean of x squared. So si mean of x daw, multiply natin sa another mean of x. Okay? Doble. Kaya naging 8.67 multiply by 8.67. Okay, and the next is you get or you apply nyo yung tinatawag nating PEMDAS, di ba, sa mathematics. So, una, equation muna, parenthesis, equation, and then your multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, subtraction. And you will get this amount, guys. So, i-check nyo na lang sa calculator nyo yan. Okay, and then from there, ito na yon until we get yung value ni B. Okay, so that's 85.67 or equivalent sa 86 when rounded off. Alright, using this formula guys, na-determine na natin si B, di ba? Okay, mas madali. Notice guys na same lang din, almost the same lang din yung magiging result niyan kapag ni-rounded off natin. Medyo magkakaroon lang ng difference guys, okay, because of rounding off. Okay, kapag ginamit natin tong equation na to. Pero still, it's gonna be the same, okay? So, I'll suggest guys that you use this equation na lang, okay? And ito na lang yung ilagay nyo sa index card nyo, okay, for your computation. As long as you know what to do, kung paano kukunin itong mga value na to, then, wait lang may nag-text. Once na alam nyo na guys kung paano computein yung value na to, then of course, mag-substitute na lang kayo, okay? Alright, sorry guys for the interruption. Meron lang ng text. But moving on guys, so after you computed yung variable cost, then next is, let's determine the value of our fixed cost, okay, or your letter A. So we still have yung equation natin kanina guys, y is equals to A plus bx. So we'll have It's substituted. But guys, always remember na sa least square regression, kapag ito yung formula na ginamit natin, yung y na to is gonna be your mean of y. Okay? And then yung x is your mean of x. Okay, so para i-substitute natin siya guys, let's go back dun sa mga na-compute natin ng value. Okay, so si mean of y natin guys is 4,233.33, kaya siya ganyan. And then is equals sa A plus yung variable cost per unit natin na na-compute, 85.67. 'Di ba? Ito 'yon. Or you can also use yung rounded off figure, okay? 86 para wala ng butal. And then, of course, yung mean of x natin na gagamitin, ito yun guys, okay? 8.67. So, always mean of y and then mean of x yung ginagamit guys dito, okay? Kapag ka sa least square regression. Okay, and from there guys, i-determine na lang natin yung value of A, again, using algebraic expression. And here we go. Okay, we have 3,490.57. Now, take note guys that here guys, iba yung naging result ng letter A because again, it depends dun sa rounding off process. But that's still okay guys. Medyo hindi naman siya nagkakalayo. And in fact, kapag ka ni-round off mo siya, di ba? Almost mag-closer lang naman siya. 3,488 rounded off mo sa 3,490. Di ba? So, ganun siya. No, kapag tinry ko rin yung ibang value niyan, iba rin yung result because of rounding off. So, nagbabago-bago siya, pero at least hindi naman siya nagkakalayo. Alright, so ganun siya sa pag-compute. But still, ang pinaka-goal natin dito guys is to determine the cost function, okay, using the least squares. So, ito na siya, okay, rounded off na siya. So, y is equals to 3,491 plus 86x. Alright, so that's how you compute using the least squares method. Okay, thank you so much for listening guys. Stand by for the activity announcement.